me introduce him. He was the project director for National Avian Influenza Control and Prevention in Pakistan for the government of Pakistan. And he served as vice chancellor for U.S., as well as he was the member syndicate of U.S. He has a great background with the knowledge and with the distinctions. He is a decorated person, and he has a great role to represent Pakistan globally. Sir, let me giving you please address her for this seminar and the Riphah International University as well, Riphah College of Veterinary Sciences specifically. Thank you, sir. Please start, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I have the honor to open up the deliberations of Poultry Science Conference here. I believe that Pakistan is a wonderful country with the capacity of country being around 10th in poultry production. If we look at it globally, but due to some of the constraints recently in terms of COVID-19, which causes economical depression all over the world and price hike, I believe that we have to work hard. Let me introduce some of the figures which are very important for the poultry industry in and around Pakistan. Pakistan has two segments of poultry. One is the commercial poultry, second is the backyard poultry. Backyard poultry is around 35% of the commercial poultry in Pakistan. And poultry production in Pakistan plays a pivotal role in the supply of cheap animal proteins. Presently, the poultry population in 2023 year, broiler poultry GP flocks is about 0.158 million. Broiler parent stock is around 12 million. And the multiplier day-old broiler chicks produced around 1.15 billion. And the meat obtained from the broiler produced is around 3.5 tons. And from the layer it is 1.8 tons per year. And the total availability of eggs to the common man is per capita is 4.646 eggs per person. So this is the state of the affair. The Pakistan poultry is affected by many factors like the disease problems. Diseases are the number one problems of poultry production in Pakistan. And the diseases sometimes fixes the profit or loss from the house poultry. There has been problems like COVID, then problems of marketing, then the problem of slaughtering. Even nowadays, there is street slaughtering in poultry in Pakistan, which is probably unique in the nearby countries also. Poultry suffers from many diseases like avian influenza, for which I was also a project director, country director. Then I was a FAO director in the SAARC countries. I was FAO consultant of that. But then influenza, then there is salmonella, there is a Newcastle disease, there is a mycoplasma problem, and many other problems which I think the speaker would like to highlight. Coming back to this poultry production, recently the poultry has suffered from a huge problem of soybean availability in Pakistan. There has been a debate on GMOs and non-GMOs. which was really worrying all the poultry producers. Let me say a few words about the Riphah International University, Riphah College of Veterinary Science in Lahore, which is housed at one of the capital, provincial capital, Lahore. Presently, it has over 120 teachers, and most of them have been trained abroad. About 70% have the PhDs from abroad, from USA, Canada, from Australia, from many other countries. Many of the people who are serving here, they are known by their name, like in surgery and poultry and nutrition, animal breeding and genetics. This is basically the only one very good teaching institute in whole of the country, and the students come here from many foreign countries, from across Pakistan, all over Pakistan, and we have the all the facilities, modern facilities, state of the art facilities to teach them. We have good practices and practical training of poultry production. We have environmental control housing system. We have a poultry farm. We have at the present there are 4 PhDs in poultry production which are teaching. We have also a one poultry from the livestock farm which is around 15 kilometers from the main campus. Presently, this is the unique institute which caters for the people throughout the country. And recently, we have advertised admissions in MPhil programs and in PhD programs. And nowadays, we are accepting applications for the DVM program. This college has signed many memos of understanding with the countries abroad and also within the U.S., University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, with the remote veterinary services, with the Ministry of Livestock and Dairy Development, with the research institutes, and with many of the poultry processing farms. That's all what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Uh, Dr. Ajaz, sir, thank you very much. You are here for us. Thank you very much. Okay, sir, you can start now from your lecture here. Yes, sir. You can start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My most respectful, honorable teacher, uncle, I have very good relationship with Professor Dr. Munir Saab. He has a long history with my family also. He knows my fathers, everyone. It's really great honor for me that I have in this conference Professor Dr. Munir Saab.
Sir, Dr. Rashid, okay.
So, all other respected guests, Riphah University, Professor Dr. Abdul Jabbar Saab, Dr. Asif Iqbal Saab, and all the HOD, head of department, and my most respectful teacher, Dr. Professor Madhur Iqbal Saab, and Professor Dr. Arif Saab, and all other professor, teacher, Professor Dr. Neela Durrani, whoever attending this seminar, conference, and foreign speakers who are attending this conference, please accept my regard. As far as poultry science is concerned, I see exotic, a little bit of backyard poultry also, but not so many. Mostly I see dog and cat and a little bit exotic also, because I work in zoo and I have experience. And here also I have interest in backyard poultry. Some of my client, they coming for the different problem. The most common problem I see in the poultry, in the backyard poultry means the people who carry like only 10, 15 hens, 30 maximum, is not a commercial, is only like a few people who keep the poultry as a domesticated, as a pet. So the most common problem I see in their crop, their crop has impacted, maybe crop have so, there are so many reasons why the crop impacted, but the most common is that the hen, a domestic hen, they are free range and they're eating a lot of grasses, long grasses. If you look this picture, the crop is right by here. And the crop, the function of the crop is there to store the food temporary and then push the food to the next particle, proventriculus and gizzard to grind the food. The crop has very major function also to hold and store the food for the hen. When the crop will be impacted, the other problem will be starting issue. Here I go like a more detail, but I don't want to go like all of detail because everyone know about the anatomy of the chicken. I just want to show the crop, where the crop area is at and how the crop working. It contract and store the food for meanwhile, then contract the food, push the food to the next part to digest the food. The crop is like a very good part of the GI system. This is like what the crop, like everybody know, crop has very unique properties to hold the food for a period, and then it will be push the food to the next portion whenever the hen has resting or whenever they need the food or the energy. As everyone know, the chicken do not have teeth, they swallow the food, okay. The most common causes in the crop infection is that the free range grasses, foreign object also. There are some also little bit effect of the Marek disease, because the Marek disease is the cancer of the lymphoid cell, and also it's the disease of herpesvirus, the most different strain. But most of the time, the Marek disease is caused like a tumor in the internal organ that affect the sciatic nerve and most of the nerve. And some of the nerve is running to the crop is also affected by the Marek disease. And this happen in the commercial poultry, not in the backyard poultry. We see that in backyard poultry, but not very often. But in commercial poultry, that's the problem. But in USA, they control very well. They did the vaccination on the egg yolk on the 18 days, and also when they after the hatching, and they after 24 hour, 48 hour, they also give subcut vaccine. But they control very well in USA. I don't know about the Pakistan, but in USA they have very good control on the disease. These are the typical signs of the Marek disease, like a unilateral paralysis because due to the sciatic nerve. I don't want to go discuss in detail. I just want to discuss very because I have only 10 minutes. And I like to discuss like a few cases which I see in my hospital. And after listening this conference, my objective is that the student is comfortable to deal with the impacted crop whenever they see the case. And the last, as usual, I discuss very interesting case of my hospital. If you watch my all the evidence program, evidence-based medicine, the last case I always discuss very interesting for the student. And I hope you will love that case. But let's talk about the symptoms of crop infection. Everyone knows that whenever the crop is impacted, the food is not going down. So they have lack of dropping. Sometimes the normal, sometimes abnormal, sometimes the hands dropping like a 10, 15 a day. It becomes like only 5, 6 dropping. They're not laying egg very much. They become like a weakness in large crop. Crop fail to empty. They does not go the food to the down. They reduce lack of appetite. They have the increased stress, inactivity, the twisting of the neck side by side. If you look the anatomy of this one, crop is by here. When the crop distended, it put the pressure on the trachea also. That's why the hand is twisting right and left, side by side. They are open mouth breathing because they're difficult in taking a breathing. Fall order because the crop, the food stuck there longer period, the pH go high. And also smelly, watery, vomit, depression. These are the very common signs. This is the case. If you look at this one, the big crop is impacted. The food is not moving. This is again like I just want to show the crop. I just want to go fast. So whenever I see like a crop is very impacted, my first thing that I just give the local sedation and just make a small cut and remove everything and wash with the saline water. The hand feel like within 10, 15 minutes, the patient is feeling happy. They are become like normal. They start eating food very well. And this very easy procedure. If you look at this one, you eat like a lot of grasses. I just want to go like a forward, like a, because I want to show like a, I have very special guest, Chaudhry Fraz. I just want to show his presentation also, and also that he want to give you very good idea about the farming in USA and how they handle and control all the poultry. So this is like a final look, like I close the mucosa and the skin also, continue suture. This is another case, okay, if you look this one, crop, we took the X-ray, is impacted, it's not like a moving. So we did like the same thing, like a lidocaine with a local sedation. And just we flush with the saline water. And we flush with the very well. I just want to go like a fast because due to the time. This is like a suturing. I just go like continue suture the mucosa. This is like a final look, okay. I just go like a very fast. I don't want to make, this is a last case I like to discuss. This is like if we want to discharge, they have the cone also look like very good. So the hand cannot remove the stitching, everything, okay. The last case is not like a, is one of very interesting case I see. The fox attacked this peacock. And if you look that, you can see like a trachea is already open like a with attack. I just cleaned that area. And after cleaning, we give like sedation. And after sedation, I make like stitch like it. Because there's a big gap with the trachea, this one and this one. There's a big gap going on. And I just go like a fast because I make a stitching. Let me show you the next slide. This is a final like it. I put like a stitching on the. This is how they look like a final after like a 2-3 days. It heal up very well. So this is the type of case I see in the hen also. Sometimes they have coming like a very bad, and he also had like a jaw fracture. So I repaired his jaw fracture also. We put like a small nylon thread. This is a final look like it. So this is what I do in most of the time when the case is coming like a very critical condition because they are pet. The people are dealing with the pet and they love their hands also. All this they keep like as a domestic, and the people are spending the money also. So if you have any question about the because there's a lot of speaker I see, they are well-known speaker, they want to address about the poultry science, but I just discuss very small things, okay, because which I see very common in my practice. And if you have any question and concern, please let me know. And otherwise, I would like to move the next slide. I want to say like Chaudhry Fraz is my friend. Let me tell you one thing about Chaudhry Fraz Gujjar. I visit his farm also. He's my family member, just like my brother. He belonged to Gujjar family. I'm also belong to Gujjar family. And he has very good farm in USA. And I really feel proud myself that the way he established the farm is a huge farm. It's not like a small. He had like, I don't know, maybe 50 or I don't know, maybe I have no idea. Okay. It's big land. If you're traveling on land, I think you need like a maybe 35 minutes, maybe 1 hour to travel the farm. Okay. So it's not like a small farm. It's very good poultry farming industry, and is a proud of our cost also. And he's the way he holding the farm, to be very honest, is amazing. I want to show his farm, and after that he want to address you if you have any question and concern. Let me go by slide by. This is the farm. He named his farm also Gujjar Farm.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sir, Dr. Ajaz,
Yes.
please make the co-host the person with the cap, Abdurrahman with the cap and the glasses. A person, he is standing in the picture with the glasses and the cap. See, Abdurrahman. The wrong person you made the co-host.
I make the other one co-host. I don't know who. Can you remove that one?
No, sir, I am unable to remove him.
Okay.
Please now add the person with the cap and the glasses, with the beard, Abdurrahman. His name is yes, his name is Abdurrahman.
ये चिकन हाउस है यहाँ पे और ये सोयाबीन की फसल है.
Abdurrahman, please, if you are listening me, please raise the hand.
मैं आपको थोड़ा सा इनका तारफ करवा दूं.
Okay, sir. This is the person. Make him the host. The person with raising hand.
Yeah, I make the course, okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Please continue. Thank you, sir.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी। इसको कहते हैं जी फीड बिन। इसमें ट्रक जो है सप्लाई वाले फीड इसमें डिलीवर करते हैं और इसको क्रॉस आगर कहते हैं। यहाँ से फीड अंदर फार्म के अंदर जाएगी। ये एक साइड से आपको अंदाजा हो रहा होगा। ये कूलिंग पैड है। यहाँ पे वेल लगे हुए हैं, पंप लगे हुए हैं। ये पानी को इसके ऊपर डिलीवर करते हैं और ये अंदर जो है वो कूलिंग सिस्टम को मेंटेन करने के लिए लगाए जाते हैं। और ये गैस टैंक हैं। इसमें एलपीजी गैस है जो कि सर्दियों में अंदर हीट के लिए इस्तेमाल होती है। और इसी तरह दूसरी साइड पे अगर आपको नज़र आ रहा हो यहाँ से, तो टनल फैन लगे होते हैं जो वहाँ से चलते हैं और इधर से हवा खींचते हैं। इसके अंदर टनल डोर लगे होते हैं और अंदर जो है ये मेंटेन टेम्परेचर को मेंटेन करने के लिए लगाए गए। ये टनल डोर है। ये ऑटोमेटिकली खुलते हैं और ऑटोमेटिकली बंद होते हैं। बाहर से आपको वही कूलिंग पैड वाला अंदर वाली साइड से नजर आ रहा होगा। ये इनसाइड है। ये अंदर क्रॉस आवर मोटर लगी है। ये मोटर बाहर से फीड खींच रही है, जो मैंने आपको पिछली वीडियो में दिखाया। यहाँ से ये 3 फीड लाइंस हैं। इन हापर्स में फीड आती है और यहाँ से फिर आगे फीड लाइन में डिलीवर कर जाती है फीड लाइन। और इसके साथ ये वाटर लाइन्स हैं, ये वाटर निपल्स हैं। यहाँ से अगर आप देख रहे हो तो ये, और इसके अंदर ये सेंसर लगे होते हैं हर 20 फीट के बाद, जो कि टेम्परेचर को मेंटेन करते हैं। उससे नेक्स्ट ये है कि आपको नजर आ रहा होगा ये फीड मोटर है और ये फीड लाइन है। ये दूसरी साइड से हापर से ये वाली फीड लाइन जो है, ये फीड लाइन के जरिए को लेके आती है। ये सारे पैन्स में फीड की सप्लाई होती है और ये फिर ये साथ आपको नजर आ रही होंगी। ये वाटर लाइन हैं साथ, एक फीड लाइन के साथ 2 वाटर लाइन। ये इसका कंप्यूटर रूम है जी। ये रोटम का सिस्टम लगा हुआ है इसके अंदर। ये 7 ब्रेकर हैं, ये 7 लाइट के ब्रेकर हैं, डिमर्स हैं। और इसमें हर चीज़ मेंटेन है जिसमें टेम्परेचर, सर्दियों के लिए हीटिंग सिस्टम और गर्मियों के लिए एग्जॉस्ट फैंस, फॉगर्स और इसके साथ कूलिंग पैड, एवरीथिंग जो है वो इसके साथ मुंसलिक। और ये ऑटोमेटिक है सारे का सारा। और ये डे फर्स्ट से ये 9 वीक का प्लान है और ये मेंटेन करता है डे फर्स्ट से 63 डेज का टेम्परेचर हम सेट करते हैं मैनुअली। और ये सारे फ्लॉग के लिए काफ़ी हर फ्लॉग में चेंज करना पड़ता है वेदर से 1-2 पॉइंट ऊपर नीचे। मैं आपको ये दूसरी साइड दिखाना चाह रहा था। ये फैन की साइड है और सेम यहाँ पे भी जिस तरह दूसरी साइड पे बिन है, फीड बिन, और इसी तरह इस साइड पे भी फीड बिन है। और लेकिन इस साइड पे पंखे हैं। ये हीटिंग का सिस्टम है इनका, ट्यूब हीटर कहते हैं इनको। और ये वाटर लाइंस, फीड लाइंस और ये सेंसर्स हैं। और लाइट वैसे तो हम बहुत कम रखते हैं, लेकिन आपको दिखाने के लिए थोड़ी मैंने लाइट अब की है। ये चिकन बिल्कुल अब तैयारी के मरहले में है। ये पार्टीशन की हुई है। ये स्टैंड हैं जो पानी का लेवल हमें बताती हैं, और ये पार्टीशन हैं। जरा ये आपको फार्म अंदर से नजर आ रहा होगा, और ये ट्यूब हीटिंग है उस साइड। स्पेशली मैं आपसे जो अब लास्ट वाली बात जो आपसे शेयर करने जा रहा हूँ, ये शायद आपको थोड़ी अजीब भी लगे और आपके लिए नई भी हो। और ये बात है सारी लिटर की। ये लिटर है जी। ये अंदर तो शायद आपको शोर में समझ ना आए, लेकिन मैं आपको ये बाद में आपको इसकी डिटेल देता हूँ बाहर निकल के। तो लेकिन आपको ये मैं दिखाना चाह रहा था ये चीज। जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। ये लास्ट प्रोसेस है, और ये मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि आज चिकन जा रहे हैं। ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं वो वाटर लाइन और फीड लाइन ये सारी क्रैंक करके ड्रिल के साथ ये ऊपर कर दी जाती है, और नीचे से हर चीज़ क्लियर कर दी जाती है। और ये दोनों साइड से आपको नज़र आ रहा होगा कि ये सारी चीज़ें वाटर लाइंस और फीड लाइंस जो हैं वो ऊपर छत के साथ लगा दी जाती है। और दोनों साइडों से दरवाजे खोल के तो ये प्रोसेस शुरू हो जाता है इसकी कैचिंग का।
ओके। अभी मेरे एक दोस्त है, क्लास फेलो डॉक्टर आमर सलीम। उनका बड़ा नाम है पोल्ट्री में, पाकिस्तान में। उनका मैसेज आया कि आप अकेले अकेले चाय पी रहे हैं। नहीं भाई, आपके लिए तो हमेशा हाजिर है। Dr. Amr Saleem Saab, agar if you're listening me, I really appreciate for your joining this conference. Everyone, I think most of the people in Pakistan who living in Pakistan, he knows his name. He has very good business. Uh, his cousin is also holding like a big bird or something like. Uh, thank you for joining this conference. Okay. And right now, if you have any question, concern, I want to over to Chaudhry Fraz.
जी जी
And he wanna
मैंने तो ज्वाइन की हुई है, पता नहीं आई एम ऑलरेडी ज्वाइंट।
okay. So
हाँ हाँ हाँ, देखें तो क्यों, मैं देख रहा हूँ, मैं तो मीटिंग में हूँ।
so
जी फिर
so let's I want over to Fraz. Okay. Fraz Gujar.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम।
वालेकुम सलाम सर। वालेकुम
USA.
सलाम।
I have a big honor and respect, especially you give me a chance to invite in that like big conference, big platform, and especially big regards and thankful to Dr. Ajaz. He have a lot of big words and big respect, and he's really my elder brother. I'm very thankful to you. Uh, in front of big names, like I have words I cannot explain, like big pathologist, big microbiologist, like Indian Jim Saab, Dr. Akram Munir Saab. But I just cannot like explain to like how we handle the chicken here. I'm a broiler farmer here, Eastern Shore side, you can say Delmarva, but in like Maryland state. I started my business from Pakistan, so I have a like not a big, but a little experience, you can say. I started my business from Pakistan, so I have an idea how to grow chickens over there, and especially broiler. Then started here 2018, and since 2018 I'm doing business here and grow chicken. Del Marwa side, you can show everything. So I'm blessed, and
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम
luckily I have like big teachers,
जी
especially
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बिल्कुल
Indian
ठीक
staff, Dr. Zargam Saab, and, Dr. Safdar Saab from U.S., Dr. Shahid Mahbubana Saab, some colleagues and class fellows like Dr. Ashraf Malik Saab, microbiology, Dr. Kashif Saleem Saab, and also from like Arab Agriculture University, Rawalpindi, Dr. Nasir Mustaq Saab, Dr. Imtiaz Khan Saab, like big colleagues. And I work, like I have started my business from like 25 years ago. So then, like 2018, I moved here and started business here in U.S.A. So I explain like how we get chicken here, how we contract here, and how we can scale. Like entirely different. We can grow here in America. We get a contract, especially first with companies here, like big companies like Tyson, Mount Air, Purdue, Allen, and make. Then we make our chicken houses. Then started getting the old chicken, and then grow with according to schedule of company. Mostly we uh, have not any vaccine and not any antibiotic used at the farm. They are vaccinated chickens. I got them in like different plans, like 5 weeks, 7 weeks, and 9 weeks. And it's like depend on company demand, and they give us a schedule of how to like which day they wanna deliver and which day they want push back. So they deliver chicken, they deliver feed, and like all kind of services if we need a veterinarian. But mostly like we not any veterinarian visited here at the farm. Mostly service guy came here. And like my last 6 years experience, we never used any antibiotic. Only last year we have a problem with the ILT, and then like last 2 flocks we used ILT vaccine at the farm. So it's very easy for me. So I bless, and luckily I like say again, I have a big teachers like Indian Saab, Dr. Zargam Saab, and especially in Pakistan, mostly I did like marketing business, not a, like growing chicken, but we met over there a lot of people, and especially we learned like especially Dr. S.N. Sabar Saab, a big name poetry, late Dr. Sadiq, and late me Jan Muhammad Javed Saab, like last month he died, and it was like big loss of poetry. I have a big colleague. You can say I learned like that marketing and like how to grow chicken, feed, deliver over the, but it's entirely different here in U.S.A. So we use that later, like last if they deliver like day first we started later, they deliver later, and we use that later like 4 5 years. Mostly in summer we like windrow, and in winter we have a crusting, and they use only bug spray, nothing else, like spray to treat inside the disinfect, never ever. And then they deliver their chickens, we maintain like temperature, they first to like
फराज
9
साहब
weeks,
सॉरी
we go to like 9 weeks.
फराज साहब आपकी आवाज जो ना रुक रुक के आ रही है, सही नहीं आ रही।
कुछ मेरा नेट में कोई शायद मसला तो नहीं।
कोई नेटवर्क में कोई मसला है, कोई आवाज रुक रुक के आ रही है आपकी ना। ये जो ये जो आपने जो बताया लिटर वाला जो काम जो है वो उसका क्या है, यानी कि वो क्या सीक्रेट है?
कोई सीक्रेट नहीं है सर। अगर हम कोई भी एंटीबायोटिक यूज करते हैं तो वो हम बताते हैं उसको, और वो उसको ट्रीट करते हैं उस लिटर को, क्योंकि वो बाद में एग्रीकल्चर के लिए यूज होता है। तो उसकी स्पेशली जो है वो हर साल हम अपने लिटर का एनालिसिस करवाते हैं लेबॉर्ट्री से। इसलिए हम कोई भी एंटीबायोटिक अगर कोई यूज करते हैं तो वो आप कह लें कि हर डिपार्टमेंट को हमें आगाह करना पड़ेगा। तो वी विल इन्फॉर्म टू एवरी डिपार्टमेंट्स लाइक कंसर्न with like integrated with agriculture and especially poultry, USDA. तो ये उसी लेटर को हम ट्रीट करते हैं नीचे से, नॉट अ कंक्रीटेड the chicken houses, our floor is like not a concreted.
तो आप जो जो भी आप एंटीबायोटिक अगर यूज करते हैं, अगर वो लीटर बॉक्स के अंदर वो लीटर में आ जाती है, आइडेंटिफाई हो जाती है, तो उसके बाद स्लॉटर की उसको इजाजत होती है या नहीं होती, या क्या उसका क्या प्रोसीजर क्या है?
नहीं, अगर हम कोई भी एंटीबायोटिक यूज करते हैं तो वो हम इन्फॉर्म करते हैं, और उसका फिर विदड्रॉल पीरियड है। आपसे
सही
वो
हो गया।
आप लोगों के सामने तो, लेकिन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए तो ये बताना ज़रूरी है कि हर एंटीबायोटिक का जो है वो आपको पता है कि एक विदड्रॉल पीरियड है, लेकिन लास्ट 6 ईयर से मैंने कभी एंटीबायोटिक यूज़ नहीं की फॉर्म। यहाँ पे हमें प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं। जैसे लास्ट ईयर आईआईटी की यहाँ पे आउटब्रेक थी, और जिस एरिया में थी उन्होंने उसी एरिया को फोकस करके वहीं पे वैक्सीन की है। अदरवाइज ज़्यादा हमें जो प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे आती है स्पेशली विंटर में, वो डर्माटाइटिस की समटाइम्स, और कभी कभार जो है वो आप कह लें कि माइकोप्लाज्मा वगैरह, तो वो भी किसी एक स्पेसिफिक फार्म पे ना, सब फार्म्स पे नहीं। अगर आप मैनेजमेंट में कोई गलती हुई है, आपने कोई वो थोड़ा कूलिंग सिस्टम हीटिंग सिस्टम में थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम हुई है, तो वो अगर डिस्टर्ब हुआ है तो स्ट्रेस लिया है चूजे ने तो फिर है, वरना कोई प्रॉब्लम मोस्टली आती नहीं।
दूसरा ये थोड़ा सा मेहरबानी करके थोड़ा सा माइक जो है ना, आप मुंह के तरफ थोड़ा करीब रखें थोड़ा सा ना, या वाह। दूसरा ये बताएं कि आपने पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग पाकिस्तान में भी देखी है, पाकिस्तान से भी आपका इसका तलक रहा है, यूएसए में भी आपने माशाल्लाह बहुत अच्छा बिजनेस रखा है। आपने क्या डिफरेंस क्या है पाकिस्तान और यूएसए पोल्ट्री में? डिफरेंस क्या है कि यहाँ पे मोर्टेलिटी रेट नहीं है ज्यादा, या जीरो के बराबर है, कंट्रोल है? उसकी क्या रीजन है? ये आप काइंडली 2-3 मिनट के अंदर, क्योंकि बाकी भी स्पीकर है हमारे
जी
पास, उनको मैंने
जी
अलाउ करना, उसके बाद आपके पास सिर्फ 2-3 मिनट है, उसके बाद हम बाकी स्पीकर को अलाउ करेंगे। थैंक यू।
डॉक्टर साहब जी, डॉक्टर साहब बहुत ही मुख्तसर सी बात है कि वो जैसे हम पाकिस्तान में कहते हैं कि इलाज बिल गज़ा, ये वही बात है कि यहाँ
सही।
पे भी हम मैनेजमेंट करते हैं जी मोस्टली, और कोई मेडिसिन वगैरह। मैंने आपको बताया कि लास्ट 6 साल से, लास्ट 6 ईयर से तो मैंने कोई एंटीबायोटिक यूज़ नहीं की फार्म, और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं टॉप ग्रोअर हूँ। और अच्छा वज़न लेते हैं हम यहाँ पे। अब आप देख लें कि तकरीबन हम पौने 11 पाउंड, 11 पाउंड, 10.5 पाउंड वज़न लेते हैं 60 डेज, 61, 62, 63, 9 वीक। तो उसमें सिर्फ मेन चीज़ जो है वो मैनेजमेंट ही है कि हम आते चूजे को कैसे ट्रीट करते हैं। और पाकिस्तान में फिर वही है कि आपको ब्रीडर में भी ज़ाहिर प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, और फिर वही प्रॉब्लम्स जो हैं वो आगे शिफ्ट होती हैं चूजे में। और फिर हमारा फार्मर जो है वो एजुकेटेड नहीं, और अगर आप उसको समझाएं भी, स्पेशली बायोसिक्योरिटी और मैनेजमेंट, मेरा ख्याल है कि 80% आपके मसाइल जो हैं वो मैनेजमेंट और बायोसिक्योरिटी से ही हल हो जाते हैं।
ठीक हो।
और यही मेन फ़र्क है जो पाकिस्तान में और यहाँ पे हमारे अमेरिका में जो मेन फ़र्क है, जो
ठीक हो।
मैं यही समझता हूँ कि
ठीक हो।
बायोसिक्योरिटी और मैनेजमेंट।
ठीक हो गया, ठीक है। अब आपकी आवाज ठीक आई है, आप जो है ना स्पीकर आपने क्लोज रखा है। चले ठीक है फराज साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग द कॉन्फ्रेंस, आई रियली अप्रिशिएट। let me move over. Let me give the mic to the co-host. Let's see, call the next speaker. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
बहुत शुक्रिया
Actually,
सर
sir, here is the voice of Adhan. As-Salah al-Maghrib. Please give me a second to listen the voice of Adhan. Give me 1 minute, please.
Who's the next speaker?
Sir, Yusuf, Dr. Yusuf. She's from Tunisia. Are you listening me? Ma'am, are you listening me?
Can you raise her hand and make him co-host or?
Okay, let me check, sir. Yes, there is Yusuf Nefati. Please raise your hand, ma'am. Yes, sir. She raised her hand, sir. Please make her host.
Yes, I just make co-host.
Okay, now, ma'am, you can share your slide and you can deliver your lecture to the audience.
Before I want to leave also, who else is speaker? Can raise the hand. I can make the co-host.
Sir, he is. Sir, one is me and the second one is Abdurrahman.
Yeah, I know. I already make you the co-host, and the Abdurrahman also make co-host. But anyone else, like who is a speaker?
Yes, let me check, sir. Please give me a second. Is Abdul Basit. Dr. Abdul Basit, are you listening me? Hamza Abdul Basit, if you are listening, please raise your hand, please. Dr. Akanli, you are in meeting, please raise your hand so we can make you the co-host. After that, you can easily, yeah, here is the Abdul Basit. Please make him, sir, the co-host.
Can he raise his hand?
Yes, he raised. Raised again, please. Dr. Hamza Abdul Basit, please raise your hand again. Yes, sir, here. He raised. Abdul Basit. Dr. Akanli, are you listening me?
Hello?
Ma'am, please give me a second. Dr. Yusuf, please give me a second. Let me make the co-host the speakers. Please give me a second.
Who's this one?
Okay, there is the last one. I am searching Akanli.
Somebody raised the hand. Who's this one? Abdul Basit.
Yes.
Abdul Basit.
Yes, he's the speaker. Abdul Basit is the speaker. You made him as a co-host. Let me check for the Akanli. Let me call him, sir. Please give me a second. Let me call her.
Okay, let's start the speaker.
Yes.
If I leave, I will tell my son he can make you the later on. Okay.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, sir, for your presence, for being here for us. Thank you very much.
I'm still here like a 15-20 minutes, then I have to leave. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Dr. Yusuf, please carry on. Continue your slide, please. You can speak now.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm gonna present myself. I'm Nafit Yusser, a Tunisian veterinary doctor in National School of Veterinary Medicine in Tunisia. So today we're gonna talk about the infectious bronchitis disease in poultry, or easily we can say IBV. It's a viral infection, high contagious. It's caused by a coronavirus. It can touch the young and the adult chicks. The young chicks can make them acute infection of the respiratory system, and for the adults, they will have severe problems in pond. So we're gonna talk about the etiology, the disease and its symptoms, the diagnosis, the available treatment, and we're gonna finish with the quiz. So we're gonna start about with the etiology. It's like I said, it's caused by a coronavirus, and especially with the gamma coronavirus. It's an enveloped virus with a round to pleomorphic shape. The viral genome is a single-stranded positive sense, and the variation in the virus spike protein gives rise to multiple strains of the virus, which may vary regionally, and it has a short incubation period, like 36 hours. For the resistance, the virus is very resistant, like several months at +4 degrees. For the stability, the virus is stable at pH 6.5, and it's really sensitive in high temperature. So for the epidemiology, the disease is cosmopolitan, and it spreads rapidly among chickens in a flock. There are many sources of the virus, such as sick animals, animals in the incubation period, vaccinated animals, and the transmission may be either by inhalation or ingestion of infectious virus particles. For the sources of transmission, there is direct and indirect. For the direct one, it means direct with the viral particles, such as sick animals, blood, droppings, and for the indirect one, by workers, insects, even clothes. For the symptoms, we have depression, loss of appetite, coughing, diarrhea, and the mortality is low only in
Dr.
the
Yusser,
complicated infections.
Dr. Yusser, are you listening?
Yes. Yes.
Really sorry for the disturbance. Our, you can say, most superior speaker, Sir Faraz Sahab, he has to leave. Thank you very much, sir. आप आए, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. Thanks a lot, sir. He have to leave. He has to leave for the checking his form. Thank you very much, sir. आप यहाँ आए, बहुत शुक्रिया, सर. एजाज साहब, आपने इनको इनवाइट करवाया, बहुत शुक्रिया सर जी आपका. आपका मैं दिल से शुक्रगुजार हूँ. इंशाल्लाह आपसे राब्ता रहेगा. इंशाल्लाह मुलाकात भी होगी. इंशाल्लाह व्हेन आई विल विजिट यूएसए. इंशाल्लाह सून सर. इंशाल्लाह जी सर, दुआओं में याद रखें सर. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, Dr. Ajaz, actually, I shot. You can make her a co-host. She's here. She raised her hand, sir. Okay, now, Dr. Yusser, you can continue. Carry on. Carry on. Okay.
So I will repeat.
Yeah.
Depression,
That's
loss of appetite, coughing, diarrhea, and the mortality is low only in the uncomplicated infections. So the highest concentration of IBV can be detected in the trachea during the first 3-5 days. So in young chicks, there is the respiratory signs such as sneezing, coughing, nasal discharge. Also, these symptoms usually manifest 18-24 hours post exposure and may last about like 2-3 weeks. As we see here in the picture, there is a comparison of normal 16-old embryo in the left, and the other one which is infected by the IVB virus. In adult birds, so it touches the production system. The disease may damage the reproductive also tract, So reducing in egg production with misshapen, rigged and thin shaft eggs of poor internal quality. And there is also tropism for the kidneys, mortality due to kidney failure, pale and enlarged prominent reticular pattern due to several nephritis. Ureters are often distended with urates. Also, for the oviduct can be non-functional. Ovulation still occurs and the yolks accumulate in the abdomen of the animal. With time, this non-functional oviduct fills with clear fluid, and this permanent damage is for the life of the animal. And the accumulation of yolks causes abdominal distension. So as we can see here, this is an example for a non-functional ovary full of clear fluid. We're gonna talk now about the lesions. So we can see in the picture, there is inflammation in the respiratory system. Also, we can have air circulates, kidneys and bronchi may be swollen and and the ureters may have urates also. There is a clear exudate in the sinuses. There is odematous trachea mucosa. For the diagnosis is based on clinical signs, lesions, and also serology. Is based on viral isolation after 3-5 passages in chick embryo, HA negative, Florence antibody positive. For the serology, that can be used for diagnosis in an elevation in antibody titers can be demonstrated. 2 samples are needed, one at the beginning of the disease, and the second one is in 10 days later. So the identification of serotype is recommended also, especially for the vaccinated animals. RT-PCR is recommended also to identify genotype, which has replaced serotyping to determine the identity of a strain. So we're gonna use treatments. Some of veterinarians can recommend sodium salicylate. Antibiotics can control the secondary infections, raising the temperature of the coop or border by 5 degrees, isolate the infected chickens to minimize the disease spread, and keep the infected flock members safe. So before the arrival of new birds, the poultry house and equipment must be disinfected, restrict the movement of equipment, personnel, and poultry between flocks. For the prevention, vaccines are really important. So live vaccines are used in young animals, either by spray or drinking water applications. Live vaccines induce a mild respiratory condition. Also, for the maternal immunity provides protection only for 2-3 weeks. There are the immunity appears 10-14 days post-vaccination. Local immunity is first line of defense, of course. For the conclusion, so we can say that ABV is caused by virus, which is coronavirus. It touches the reproduction and the respiratory system. It's a cosmopolitan disease. It's really hard to avoid the resistance of the virus in the breeding. So here I made a quiz. So everyone can answer the quiz. It's really easy. So let's start with the first question. So ABV is a bacteria, virus, or a parasite? IBV is caused by a bacteria, virus, or parasite. So tell me if I can change.
Guys, I opened the chat. Please give the answer to the questions.
Yes, as I see yes, that's true. IBV is caused by a virus. which is gamma coronavirus. For the second one, the virus is single-stranded or double-stranded. Yes, as I see, the virus is single-stranded, so it affects the respiratory system, digestive system, reproduction system, nervous system, or none of them.
Dr. Yusuf,
Yes.
please give me a second. Sir, Dr. Ajaz Rashid is leaving. Let him
Okay.
ask something. Please, stop here your this slide and stay tuned with us. Please, we have to listen Dr. Ajaz Rashid. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Please, sorry.
No,
Okay.
it's okay.
Thank you.
Sorry
Yes,
for
sir.
the sorry for the disturbance. I have to leave. I have to go to the hospital. And thank you for joining everyone for this conference, especially with all the foreign speakers. And I would like to special thank you for the wildlife people who are joining this conference. And some are from Saudi Arabia, some of the Abu Dhabi, and some of in my country also in Bahawalpur Zoo. Whoever joining in this conference, all of my friends, please accept my regard. And if we miss something, we apologize. And next time, I hope we will organize a very good seminar, a well-mannered, maybe on exotic. And there are a lot of speakers here. They are well-known. And I would like to say that I hope everyone have a very good time. And I'm sorry for this one because I have to leave. My hospital start like an appointment like at 10 o'clock, but I tell my staff I will be there 10:30. And you guys have wonderful time. And thank you for everyone. And thank you for Professor Dr. Manir Saab and all other professors who attending this conference. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Sir, आप मेरे mentor हैं. You are my teacher. You are my mentor. I taught some topics of rabies and other globally issues, zoonotic issues last year on the conferences. Thank you very much. आप आए और आपने इतना time दिया. आपका बहुत शुक्रिया sir. बहुत शुक्रिया. अच्छा sir, there is a person, Abdul Rahman. Please make him the co-host. किसी reason की सर आपने बनाया था लेकिन सर वो लीव हो गया किसी इशू की वजह से वो दोबारा आए हैं जी अब आपने बना दिया और एक को होस्ट के नाम से एक और लड़का है अब्दुल रहमान देयर इज नो पिक्चर ऑफ हिम उसे आप रिमूव कर दें
आप भी रिमूव कर सकते हैं उसको
चलिए ओके सर डन सर थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम थैंक यू वेरी मच सर थैंक यू
या नो प्रॉब्लम थैंक यू फॉर एवरीवन ओके बाय यू हैव वंडरफुल डे ओके थैंक यू
Good day, sir. Good day.
If you have any problem, anything, just give me call back.
Sure, sir.
I will tell my son. He will handle the issue. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, sir. I will. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. So, Doctor, you, sir, you can continue your quiz. Thank you very much for giving me time to listen, Dr. Ajaz Rashid Saab. Thank you very much. Now,
yes. So I saw the response. So that's correct. Respiratory system for the young chicks and the reproduction system for the adults one. So the virus is cosmopolitan, only in cold countries, only in hot countries. The virus doesn't exist. So yes, the virus is cosmopolitan. It means that the virus exists all around the world. It touches only young chicks, adults, or both of them. Yes, that's true. It's C. So these are the references for all the information that I've got. And thank you for your attention. Hope you enjoyed.
If you have any question, then you can ask to Dr. Yusuf. She's a practitioner in Tunisia, and she is doing a good practice there. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. You were here for us. Thank you very much for being here. I'm very thankful to you for this act. Yes. I will talk
Thanks
to you
for you,
later. Thank you very much.
and thanks for everyone.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Now our coming speaker is Dr. Akinli. Are you listening me, Dr. Akinli? I think so. She, oh, no, here. Akinli, are you listening me? I think there is some issue with her. Dr. Hamza Abdul Basit, you can start now. Dr. Hamza Abdul Basit, you can start now. Yes. Please start your presentation. Yes. Dr. Hamza? Sir Ahmad Saab, please start your presentation. I think so there is issue. I have resolved that issue with them. No, he is starting. Okay, Abdul Basit. Yes, Dr. Abdul Basit. Okay, start. Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We are unable to listen your
Hear me?
voice.
Can you hear now?
Yes, I think so there is a connection
Why
problem.
is my screen?
Yes, we can listen you. Yes, please carry on. Continue.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Hmm? Can you see my screen right now?
Abdul Basit, we are unable to listen you very well.
Can you see my can you see my screen? Can you, huh?
Hello. Okay, sir, Ahmadin Anjum Saab, please continue
Can you
your
see?
slide. I think so there is some issue with them I have to resolve. I am calling them and you please continue the slide. Please, sir. It's up to you now.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
It's my pleasure to be with you, and it's really nice. I don't know how to share the screen. Let's go.
Sir, there is a button in front of you, just in the
Okay.
middle of town. Yes, top bottom, there is a button with the share screen.
It's not coming on my screen. Top button. So I will have
Sir,
to search
change
it
the
out.
view, change the view if you can. Change the view. In this way, you can see the buttons or options.
Yes.
Down
I
there.
am trying to do that.
Sure, sir, sure.
Can you see my screen now? See my screen?
Yes.
Huh?
Well, if I switch on the presentation, then I cannot
Muhammad,
see the move over. Okay. There's a message of the Basit has started screen sharing.
Yes, sir. Actually, he has some issue. I am contacting with him that please stop this your screen share. Let me call him. Please give me a second.
Sir, my teacher is there, Professor Akram Netsa. Assalamu alaikum.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir Akram, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Jiva.
Well, Dr. Yasser, she said that IBA virus is not hemagglutinating. That is a hemagglutinating virus when we treat it with the neuraminidase enzyme. Okay? Indirect hemagglutination. I hope you can understand what I'm saying, sir.
Ji, it's taken, sir.
और ये डॉक्टर एडी अंजम साहब चेहरा ते दिखाओ अपना
और सर ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਨਕ ਉਤਾਰ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਆਮ देयर ਸਰ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੋ ਐਨਕਾਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੀ
ਜੀ ਸਰ ਆਈ ਕੈਨ ਸੀ ਯੂ ਸਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ
Yeah,
ਚਾਹੋਗੇ
nice
ਤੇ
to
ਨਜ਼ਰ
see
ਆ
you.
ਜਾਏਗਾ नहीं
You
देखोगे
are
तो नहीं
looking
नजर
you are looking a very beautiful person.
आंखें हंसी हो तो खिजा भी बाहर है सर
चलें शुरू करें आपने मेरा हाल प्रेजेंटेशन
जी वो
अब्दुल बासित ने सर कर दी है. He stopped. Yes.
तो now screen sharing is disabled by the host.
Okay. But you are co-host, you can share. I can share. Here is the option of screen share. Okay, actually there is an issue. I am recording the lecture. Otherwise, I am able to share my screen for you. Okay, send me the slide, sir. If you which slide you want to share, please send me the slide. I can share for you, no problem.
That how I share with you, I don't know.
By WhatsApp.
No, I cannot share. There are options. There is
Yes.
option,
Share screen.
share
With the app.
screen. It is
With the
there.
app.
It
Yes.
is there, but the answer is host disabled participant screen sharing. Please
Sir.
check at your end. Yeah.
Okay, I am checking. Here is the option. One participant can share at one time multiple presentation stimulously. Okay, sir, I am doing this. Now check, sir.
Okay. Yes, I think I can now.
Yes, sir. Now your screen is shared. Yes, I can see, we can see, sir.
Great.
Yes.
yeah now it is
MBBS doctor.
Now it's there. Now it's there.
Can I start, sir?
Yeah, AD
Uh,
Anjam Sahab, now it's quite clear. Please carry on.
okay. Today we will discuss trends in poultry diseases in Pakistan. There is some interference in sound,
Sir
please.
Abdul Basit, he is
Miraj.
delivering his lecture. There is some connection issue. Let me talk to him.
So I can stop.
Unable to mute him.
ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਚੰਨੜ ਪੂਰੀ ਲੱਭ ਲਈ ਹੁਣ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ ਤੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਣੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇਣੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤਾ
Ji, Miraj sir.
Sir, I am unable to mute him because he is a co-host. Give me a second. I am calling him.
Ji.
Yes, sir.
Or if he wants, he can start his presentation. I have no problem. I can do it later.
Yes, sir. Hey, bro,
Okay.
please unmute yourself or mute.
Okay, great. Today we will discuss trends in poultry disease in Pakistan, and it is with particular reference to the Pakistan situation. And if we listen this presentation properly, we should be able to have a futuristic approach for effective control of poultry diseases. Now, this is a fact that we have forced chicken, both the broiler type on the left side and the layer type on the right side, to produce more. So there is a production pressure, and the diseases which we are facing today are in fact production diseases. With this genetic selection for more production, we have changed. Hello, can you listen? Can everybody listen?
Yes, sir, we can listen yourself.
Okay. So with this genetic selection and production pressure, we have changed behavior of the chicken. We have changed its anatomy, physiology, and this is all because we have changed to the intensive production. So the diseases in poultry today are diseases of production and diseases of intensification. Now, when I look at the literature, and I consulted various institutions and universities and even the literature, it gives me a hodgepodge presence of the disease. Somebody is talking about Newcastle disease, the others are talking about Gumboro, others adenoviruses, but there is no single place where I can find this is the disease problems in Pakistan. So industry problems are not known. And the biggest problem at this time is probably that we don't know our problems in Pakistan poultry industry. The problem is we don't know our problems. And for this, we need to establish a monitoring system, disease monitoring system, if not at national level, at least at provincial level as a model. And then we can stretch it to the country. And this is a very good example that a poor country, they have devised some, on the left, you can see an app on the mobile. They have created a program through by sensors in which they have fed various pictures and various aspects of the poultry production in that app. And even people in probably this is Nigeria, the farmer screens his farm and bird, and the app tells him, is it something dangerous, or he can go with it. And this is very good to start with. This is a very good monitoring system which we can adopt even in Pakistan. On the right side, we can see many types of droppings which are related to some disease. And this is the first screening tool. If you find something alarming, the options he gets, this options also gives him, it is a very dangerous disease, or he can wait. So if it's a dangerous disease, he immediately notifies it to the proper concerned authorities. And this is a very good way to start with. I wish our poultry industry, the government level or by the poultry organizations, this can be the first step for monitoring disease. And this is how the disease marched in poultry throughout the world from 1865, when the lymphoid leukosis and fowl cholera were first recorded. And then if we go to 1965, all those diseases before 1965 were present around the world, but we started our poultry production in 1962. From 1962, we have few big blows of introduction of the disease. And to take care of the poultry industry, Pakistan Poultry Association was established in 1979. But because there was a rapid development of the poultry industry and there was no support by the government for the technical and paratechnical support for the industry, so we faced many episodes of diseases like hydropericardium syndrome in 87, and then Gumboro outbreak in 91, and 92 and 93, and avian influenza 94. And now, recently, last few years, we are facing the problem of genotype 7 Newcastle disease. So along with the rest of the diseases, these are the few big episodes of disease outbreaks after 80s in Pakistan. So poultry sector in Pakistan is facing many crucial challenges, and this is largely because of unregulated growth of poultry. So we need to regulate the growth of poultry along with monitoring diseases. Now, for me, in my practice, as I said, there is no platform where I can go and I ask them, what are the problems of the poultry industry? There is no published literature, there is no reports, no documentation. So in my experience, amongst the viral diseases, adenovirus is the most common, followed by ND, AI, and IB. And then the less common diseases nowadays are the Gumboro, chicken anemia virus, pox. Pox, of course, it's a very old disease, but not a big problem. Cases are there. And rarely we see outbreaks of Marek's, Rio, egg drop syndrome, and swollen head syndrome. Amongst the bacterial diseases, Mycoplasma, E. coli, and Salmonella, these are the three big diseases. And unfortunately, in Salmonella, as we know, there are two types, the human affecting the cosmopolitan like Salmonella entritidis, the paratyphoid entritidis, and typhimurium. Pakistan is the #1 country around the world for food poisoning with these two organisms. And I suppose, and even our poultry, about 43% of the flocks in Pakistan are infected with Salmonella. So this is quite an alarming situation that at least we are champions, leaders in Salmonella production around the world. So these three diseases are big problems: necrotic enteritis and coccidiosis. This is a recent avenue that either of the diseases is not as problem as is the interaction of the two. So this is a new scenario which is emerging, and the sporadic cases of cholera coryza we see generally because we have used a lot of antibiotics, and because of the injudicious and excessive use of antibiotics, we have eradicated most of the common diseases like cholera coryza, but the organisms like Mycoplasma, E. coli, and Salmonella, they have become resistant to many of the antibiotics. And this is, again, another alarming situation which poultry industry has created. So the first main issue, if we look for the adenoviruses, we can see that this is a big cycle. Even the adult birds, they carry the adenoviruses in the oviduct. This is through intermittent shedding goes to the egg, and in the egg, embryonated eggs, death of the embryo can occur, or it can go in latency, and even the day-old chicks are carrier of the, so there is a vertical transmission of this disease virus, and when the chicken go to the farm, again they get the disease under stress. So this is how the virus is continuing in Pakistan poultry, and this is not only a problem for Pakistan, it's a problem in rest of the world as well. And because of there is vertical transmission, so it may take a longer time to understand this virus and to control this virus. And I call it as a hidden enemy because it is there and we cannot see it. And this is present throughout the world in Russia and China and India and Pakistan, Iraq, Middle East, everywhere it's present. And these red circles, big red circles means big problem, and the small red circles on this map mean small problem. And in Pakistan, very unfortunate, we got this disease first time in 1987, and subsequently this hydropericardium syndrome was reported throughout the world in many countries like Iraq, India, Japan, Mexico, and many other countries as well. And these are the three classical diagnostic features of this disease. Look at the color of the feces. This is parrot green color, then hydropericardium. This is one form of adenoviruses. This is not all. And this blotching of the liver, very good, very characteristic. It's a beautiful lesion. And even the intracytoplasmic antibodies, this is the feature of this disease. And this disease, we call it as a 5-day disease because for the first 2-3 days, the mortality goes up. For the next 2-3 days, mortality remains static. And then for the last 2-3 days, then it becomes normal. Initially, we thought this is a problem in the young birds, but sometimes when the even breeder flocks are under stress, there can be respiratory problems in the breeder flock, and there can be tracheitis. And it is this time when there is a lot of virus shedding in the, and during this period, even the production, this is the upper line is the normal production curve, and the lower line is the reduced egg production, and even the hatchability is also decreased. So the interesting feature is that even the day-old chicks which hatch normally, we can, if we have some experience with adenoviruses, even we can detect these adenoviruses at day 1 of age as well. There is low-grade shedding of the virus and periodic vertical transmission from the breeder flocks. This is a new feature. Previously, for the past many years, we have been ascribing these gizzard erosions to mycotoxins and some other chemicals, but recently, this serotype 2, it has been associated with gizzard erosions as well in the chicken, and particularly in the young chicks. We can see it in broilers, and even I have seen it during the first 3-4 days of life of the breeder flocks. But this is a new and very interesting finding. This is my personal finding. It's not published, it's unpublished, but this virus has a potential. What I did, I inoculated on day 2 of age, I inoculated the virus with the liver homogenate, and we can see the hemorrhages in Zika. These hemorrhages were negative for coccidiosis, and this is an aspect which has not been reported anywhere for adenoviruses, and this may, maybe after 7 years, 10 years, this may become a new manifestation of the adenoviruses. We need, the industry and the institutions need to address it, and otherwise this can be a newer form of the adenoviruses. Now, the trend for this disease is that the standalone pathogenicity, as in the past in the form of IBH or hydropericardium stone, that is gone. Now there is a trend of mixed infections and co-infection, particularly with IB and H9. This is very alarming because there are many reports. We have H9 very common in poultry industry, and so is the adenovirus. So we should be ready to face the interaction of the two. Second, genotype 7 for the Newcastle disease. And we can see that generally the main host is the chicken, but spillover hosts are the wildlife. And this greenish white dropping, it is highly suggestive, not 100%, but highly suggestive. And this disease, if we look at this bar diagram, this blue color from 90, it is decreasing, but still it is present. And the recent episodes are mainly associated with genotype 7. And this is how the typical characteristic of the active disease. This is, we can see the head movement. This is the jerking movement of the head. And even in the pigeon, there is torticollis in this slide. And also in the wildlife, we can see torticollis. So this disease is very common. And even this parrot, look, it's not dancing. Somebody has fitted the music to its torticollis situation. And this is a quite a common disease and present in wildlife as well as in the chicken. And these are the two diagnostic features, the one involving the proventricular hemorrhages, and the other is the intestinal lesions, the necrotic, hemorrhagic, lymphoproliferative areas. So what I can conclude for Newcastle disease, that it's an old disease, but it has attained a new form in the form of genotype 7, and the virus is, of course, this genotype 7 is the problem. This is from a report from Karachi that the disease is wild spread and in combination with the H9 avian influenza. The two viruses are circulating together in poultry in Karachi area. The third disease, which I would like to mention, is the avian influenza, and we got it first time in 1994, and then there were bird flu, very human, one death in 95, and since 98, there is a low pathogenic avian influenza prevalent in Pakistan, and that is H9N2, and this disease is so fatal that 1 gram of the fecal material of the infected birds is enough to kill 1 million birds. Now, this tells us the serious nature of this disease, and the virus can remain for 105 days, can survive in the failure. And this is how we got this disease. From Siberia, the birds are migrating through Kazakhstan, through Afghanistan, to the Karakoram route, and this is called green route or Indus flyway route. And it is through this route that the migratory birds from Siberia to Pakistan, they bring the disease, avian influenza viruses with them. These birds travel to Pakistan, they gather on water resources from November to January. And this is why whenever we have avian influenza outbreaks in Pakistan, it is around January, December, and January and February. And since birds start traveling back from February onward, so from March, April onward, we don't have much problem, much outbreaks of AI in chicken. And as I said, there are two types, the low pathogenic and high pathogenic, and we have got both forms. This is the feature which is diagnostic for avian influenza. We can see the legs. These are hemorrhagic legs. ये makeup probably beauty center में गया, इसने makeup करवाया, but this makeup is diagnostic. And also look at the color of the lipstick, the wattles color. This is cyanotic color. The wattles color and the legs color is highly diagnostic for this disease. And we have a quick test, just in 1 or 2 minutes, the antigen detection test while while we are in the field at the farm. This takes only 1 minute for this test to show whether the bird is suffering from disease or not. Here you can see the appearance of the second line. This is indicative of positive bird. This is negative bird. This is positive. So the detection is very easy. What we need is the will to monitor and to keep up to date with the situation. So for the AI, I can conclude that this is related with the influx of the white birds, and we have both low pathogenic as well as high pathogenic situation. The fourth disease is infectious bronchitis, and it, as we have already listened for this, it infects the four systems: respiratory and reproductive on the top, respiratory in the young birds, reproductive in the adults. It also has nephrogenic strains, affects the kidney. This enteric involvement is recently suspected but not confirmed. So I will not go in much more detail for this disease, but I will show you this clip. Look, the chicken are gasping. At young age, the main classical feature is rapid spread within 34 hours, a shed of 35,000. Most of them, 100% of them may be involved, and the chicks are gasping. This is diagnostic for this age, young age. First 2 weeks, all the house is gasping, rapid spread. This is typical for the disease in the young birds. And this is another diagnostic feature of the disease. This is trachea, and we can see 2 bronchi. They are full of fibrinous exudate, which is blocking this respiratory system and inducing the respiratory signs. This is, in fact, a diagnostic feature. And in adults, the diagnostic feature, which has been missed by the previous speaker, that is watery yolk. When we open the eggs of any species which is affected, the eggs will have, the white will have watery appearance. It will float like water anywhere. Normally, the chicken egg has the yolk in the center, thick albumin around the yolk, and thin albumin again, forming a quite nice circle around the thick albumin. And in case of watery yolk, this just like an island, the water flows all around and there is no regular demarcation. And this is another typical feature for the IB in the laying hens. It's the penguin-like posture. It is highly suggestive in the birds, penguin-like posture. And when we conduct postmortem, we have this ballooning of the cystic oviduct, which makes this posture. The fifth disease is, in fact, Gumboro disease, which is not as prevalent as it used to be in 91, 92, and 93. The farmer was afraid, and they were thinking to stop the poultry production as well. But still, this disease is there. It has 2 phases, the immunosuppression as well as mortality. This is also quite common disease in layers, chicken infectious anemia, and it's easy to diagnose. We can go for the atrophy of the thymus in the lower toe. This is the normal. We can look at the bone marrow. This is normal bone marrow. This is pale bone marrow. And this PCV, packed cell volume, this 3 combination is a diagnostic feature for the disease. Amongst the bacteria, I said Mycoplasma and E. coli are important, and Salmonella is even more dangerous because these 2, the Salmonella florum and gallinarum, they are basically a problem for the chicken only, but Salmonella entritidis and Salmonella typhimurium, they are responsible for mortality in the chicken as well as causing food poisoning in humans. And here we can see reports from Pakistan that even the broiler breeder, the layer birds, and the broilers, 30% of them have Salmonella, are infected with Salmonella entritidis and gallinarum, And amongst the layers and broilers, 40% of them are infected with Salmonella enteritidis and Salmonella typhimurium. And the even most dangerous situation is that we have introduced up to 20% antibiotic resistant strains of Salmonella, which is a human health danger. And this is why we are #1 country around the world for food poisoning, because Salmonella is with our dinner, and unfortunately the victims are the youngs and the very old people. So it causes food poisoning, gastroenteritis. This is the scenario which we have Pakistan. In Pakistan, Salmonella is a problem. This can go through the eggs as well as through penetration of the eggshell. And recently, it is also seen that even this organism can be transferred through mating to the females. If a male is responsible for mating about 10 chickens, so there can be a rapid spread of the disease. And this is for the young chicks, this white diarrhea. It is very typical, highly suggestive. Young age, white diarrhea, highly suggestive for pleurum disease in the chicken, and also this crust formation, cores, cecal cores in the ceca. It is also of diagnostic importance in the field. We can easily diagnose this disease by this cecal cores and the white diarrhea. And also these liver lesions, we can see multiple pinpoint diagnostic hemorrhages, and this metallic sheen of the liver, two are diagnostic features of the Salmonella under field conditions. Field veterinarians can use these features for the diagnosis. In adult birds, this pediculated appearance of the follicles, again, this is diagnostic. There is no other disease which causes this in chicken, and we can use it as a diagnostic feature in the field. This nodular appearance of the pericarditis, heart, this is also highly suggestive. In acute cases, before nodule formation, there is pericarditis, and in advanced cases, there is nodular formation suggested. So this Salmonella control is quite complex because there are many factors which can bring it to the fore. Look, this is the situation. We have rats. There is no question that any farm which has rats or mice at the premises, they can't be free of Salmonella. This one pellet of rat can have up to 10 to 5, 10 to 6, up to 1 million Salmonella organisms in the pellets. And if we can see the rats, there is no question we can be free of Salmonella. Even the ingredients which are stored at the open stores, the wild birds, they can contaminate the ingredients with Salmonella, and this can be a source of introduction in the poultry industry. Then this respiratory disease complex, this is now the recent scenario in much of the commercial poultry, particularly in broilers, since the introduction of the environment controlled houses. Here, I will just make one point. What we make a lot of emphasis on treatment with antibiotics, but we forget that if we don't correct along with the antibiotic treatment, if we do not correct the house situation and ventilation, we cannot. All that treatment will go useless. And so we should have a multifactorial approach along with respiratory diseases. Do not just consider the antibiotics and vaccinations. Please also address the environment and ventilation in particular. The other complex which we are facing now is the enteric disease complex, and this is there are more than 330 potential interactions with viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa in the intestinal tract, gastrointestinal tract, and there are interactions of them. As we are controlling and using antibiotics of one agent, the other comes up, and if we keep some agents with vaccines down, the other pops up, and therefore we need to understand these interactions. And in particularly, the one example I have given, the interaction of the Clostridia with the coccidiosis, and this is now an emerging challenge in Pakistan. The other challenge we can see now, generally we think that during the growing phase of the bird, there is development of immunity against coccidiosis. But here on the picture on the left side, you can see the bird is laying and coccidiosis is there. So this is another phase of the coccidiosis, that it is becoming resistant, and it is also involving the laying chicken. Now, in broiler, the next challenge which the industry is facing around the world, it is the wooden breast or hard breast, and this will, if this grows up, the chicken will no more remain tender chicken, and there will be problems. It would be hard in consistency after broast or roast, and the tikka would be of not same taste as others. Then with the mass scale production, the industry needs to change to automation for vaccination. Otherwise, the manual vaccinations, are we ready? We should ask question, are we ready to keep up with the development through automation? And the rural poultry is also a challenge. There is a debate. The debate is that should we maintain and allow the rural poultry, or should we eliminate it? People think the commercial poultry thinks this is a risk to the commercial poultry for propagation of the disease. Now we have two options. Either we should go for the eradication of this poultry, or we should opt it and organize it, because it's a poor man's income, and we should not stop it. Rather, we should organize it so that it remains disease-free, and it is not a challenge for the commercial poultry. And then this is probably the last slide. The message is that in future, we will have complex problems, and the vaccination, monitoring, diagnosis, eradication, and disease control, this will involve the owner, the grower, the veterinarian, the researchers, and even the associations who are patronizing the poultry industry. All need to sit together and evolve an effective program for the control of the disease. And cleaning, disinfection will remain. We need to understand it, we need to believe it, and we need to practice it for effective of the control. Still, it is the best. We need believe it, we need to learn it and practice it. All others, antibiotics and vaccination, is second to it. And if we don't do this part, the second part will not work, and disease complexes will remain there. And thank you very much for bearing me with you for a long time. I thank you once again. Ji, Dr. Saab, it's over to you, Dr. Miraj.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. You are great. And even Sir Faraz Saleem Saab is your student. He said to me, when you were a lecturer in Agriculture University, he took a course from you, and he was very happy about after listening that you are coming and leaving the lecture here. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, sir, for being here. You are my teacher as well, my mentor as well. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, sir.
You're welcome.
It's mean a load. Now the next speaker is Dr. Akinli. Please come and share your slide and please start, ma'am.
Good day, everyone. My name is Akinle Aisha Idivim, first student from the University of Ibadan. So I'll be giving a lecture today on effective biosecurity measures in poultry farming. So let's start with what is biosecurity measures. Biosecurity measure is a set of practices, management procedures, or hygiene that are employed that to aim at reducing the importation, introduction, establishment, survival, or the presence of infectious organisms into a herd or flock and the transmission between animals. Biosecurity measures are very effective in our poultry farm in order to prevent the spread of diseases and also enable us to curb the transfer of infectious organism into our flock. We have several modes of pathogen transmission. Pathogen transmission on the poultry farm can occur by either direct or indirect method. We have direct transmission and we have indirect transmission. So I'll be going to various direct transmission that we could have for pathogen transfer, because one of the major rules of these biosecurity measures is to prevent the transfer of pathogens or pathogenic organisms from one place to another within the farm. So for direct transmission, we can have contact method like direct bird-to-bird contact. When birds are in close proximities, they can transmit pathogens to each other by the physical contact. Can occur during pecking, can be during mating. Some system of poultry farming, whereby like that system where they are flood litter system where they are reared on the flood, they can easily transfer pathogens when they are eating together from the can, etc. We have the airborne transmission. This could be by some respiratory pathogens. They can be inhaled. We have some respiratory pathogens in the air that can be inhaled during the sneezing or they are coughing. And we have the fecal oral transmission. When we don't have like good biosecurity measures and there's no regular waste disposal or the proper waste disposal, the feeds and the water that are provided to the poultry birds can easily be infected with pathogenic organisms and can transfer disease and cause disease to the poultry birds. We have bodily fluid transmission, can be done during lactation, is not for poultry bird, I made mistakenly, can be done during transplacental or contacts with body fluid or humans. It can be done during vertical transmission, probably from the egg, some from the egg then to the embryo, then the chick would then have the disease when it's growing up. Now we can talk about the indirect transmission. The pathogens can be transmitted indirectly through contaminated equipment, some farm equipment and the tools that are used in the farm. When they are not properly cleaned and sterilized, they can easily transmit disease to the poultry birds. Also, we have some environmental transmission, can have some vector-borne transmission, we have person-to-bird transmission. When there is direct contact or there's no controlled contact between the person and the personnel working the farm and the bird. So we have this pictorial representation of the pathogenic transmission let's talk about salmonella in poultry. When the litters, unclean litters, wet litters, through artery, in vertical transmission, through contaminated feed, when it's improper disposal of carcass, human contact livestock, when there is uncontrolled or unregulated livestock in the poultry farms. We have from wild birds, eggs, rodents, improper pest and rodents control from vehicles, air, soil, water, cages, etc. So why do we need effective biosecurity measures in our poultry farm? So these are some beneficial effects or the roles of effective biosecurity measures in the poultry farm. One, we have for disease prevention. Biosecurity measures helps in the prevention of the introduction and spread of disease within the poultry flock, thereby preventing disease outbreak, which could lead to high mortality. One of the major rules of effective biosecurity measures is to help us prevent disease like transmission of disease, pathogenic organisms, and all that in the poultry farms. And also to help increase the production efficiency. Effective biosecurity measures will help to reduce the spread of disease, thereby increasing the feed conversion ratio and quality of poultry products. We talk about food quality improvements and safety. Effective biosecurity will reduce the likelihood of foodborne diseases that are associated with the consumption of contaminated poultry products. It's also affecting human life, so it's very effective for us to observe good biosecurity measures and safety precautions in our farm. For improving the profitability of poultry farming, there will be increase in the revenue that is generated when effective biosecurity measures are applied, and less money will be spent on disease treatments and in the farm, and improve the health status of the flock. Proper biosecurity measures will ensure optimal flock health. They tends to be more, the animals will tend to more productive, they grow faster, and thereby to increase the profitability of the business. Also, reducing the risks of zoonotic diseases. Some diseases such as avian influenza, salmonellosis, campylobacteriosis, and all that can be prevented when there are like effective measures that are used to like prevent contact between poultry birds and humans. So it will prevent the risks of some zoonotic diseases in the environment and for public health promotion. Environmental protection. Proper waste management in biosecurity measures helps to prevent the spread of pathogens within the environment, minimizing the risks of disease within poultry farms and humans. So now let's move into the biosecurity measures that we'll be talking about. So biosecurity measures in poultry, we can base them on three main principles. We can talk about the isolation, we talk about the traffic control, and the sanitation. So I will go into the biosecurity measures that are essentials in isolation. Poultry housing should be... Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Hear me?
yes, Dr. Khalid. Please carry on.
Hello?
Yes, I am listening you, ma'am. Ma'am, please carry on. Continue.
Can I continue?
I am listening
Hello?
your voice. Yes,
Should I continue?
Yes, I am listening your voice.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Yes.
I'll continue. All right.
Sure.
So I was talking about effective biosecurity measures that are essential in isolation. Poultry housing should be sited away from public roads, noisy areas that are densely populated to avoid the acquisition of the poultry beds. So most of the poultry house are like, some are located in like cities, which should not be. Most of them should be like away from the roads and noisy areas, as that is very essential and an essential biosecurity measure. Also, poultry housing should be sited far away from the ponds, stagnant water, as they might attract wild birds. Wild birds are also pathogen transmission. They can It also is better for us to like site poultry house from ponds, from stagnant waters, and proper fencing of poultry house to protect the birds from wild animals and harsh environmental conditions. She also minimize personnel contact between isolated birds and personnel from the main flock area to prevent transmission of the zoonotic diseases. Also ensuring a good isolation period for sick birds or the new birds from the main flock to monitor their health status before introducing them back to the flock. We have some quarantine measures like introduction of new stocks should not be mixed up immediately with the main flock. They should be given some period of time and observe them before they introduce them. Unnecessary tests should be given to them before introducing them to the main stock, as those new birds will like have some diseases and to be easy to spread them to the main flock if there's no proper quarantine measures. Also, provision of separate facility for the main flock to be like far away from the sick birds and newly arrived birds or birds with unknown status. So let's move to the effective biosecurity measures in traffic control. Should be controlling access points to the farm. There should be designated specific entry and exit points in the farm should be properly monitored, controlled, and controlled. Disinfection of vehicles entering the farm with disinfectant solutions such as hydrogen peroxide benzene to minimize this transmission. There should be like controlled vehicle entering, and they should be disinfected before entering the farm. There's a picture right below slide here where showing drive-through disinfectant application system. It should be in poultry farms in order to control transmission of disease through vehicles. Pre-authorization of visitors in order to allow only authorized visitors into the farm. Biosecurity checkpoints in both the exits and entry points to the farm to ensure that all vehicle and personnel adhere to strict biosecurity measures. So the third in the basic principles for biosecurity, we talk about the isolation, traffic control. Now I'm going to the sanitation, which is like very essential to poultry farms. If you have a foot bath and hand washing basin, should be set up at the entry and exit point of the farm to prevent the spread of contaminants. Regular hand washing and foot baths, they should be like to be placed at the entrance and both of exit to the farm. So that's like prevent contaminants. Cleaning and disinfection of all equipment, feeding equipment, housing, and facilities in the farm. Proper waste and litter disposal to reduce the risk of pathogen transmission. Then we have use of clean personal protective equipment such as overalls, food gloves, head cover. Proper disposal of carcass to prevent disease transmission. Clean and germ-free water should be provided to the poultry beds to prevent some waterborne. Boarding material cleaned and changed regularly, as wet beddings increases microbial activity and cause food spot dermatitis. Pest and rodent control too, to prevent the transfer of diseases and dispersing of bushes in areas around the farm to also prevent the pest. Thank you so much for listening. If there's any question, I can put it in the chat, but I will reply to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, Dr. Kinley. We got different things as additionally regarding biosecurity. Thank you very much, ma'am. We are thankful to you for being here for our students, for us. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Now I welcome the Professor Dr. Ghulam Sahab. It's a request. Please, you are the co-host now, and start the slide from your side, please, sir, and deliver the lecture You have a lot of knowledge regarding poultry science specifically. Yes, sir, your slide is sharing. Yes, great, sir. Please start, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, Miraj, for
thank you, sir.
inviting me.
You are our mentor, you are our teacher. You are the founder chairman of Riphah Poultry Science Club. There are two supervisions for the international web seminar. One is Riphah College of Veterinary Sciences, Riphah International University, Lahore, and the second one is RPSCL, Pakistan. Thank you very much for giving me this honor. You are here. Please start the lecture, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Miraj, for inviting me to speak at the webinar. It's an honor for me to share my perspective with the honorable audience, and I appreciate the efforts of the Riphah Poultry Science Club Lahore team put into the organizing such a great event. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you very well.
Thank you. Thank you. The topic of my talk is global warming, heat stress on poultry production, and mitigating strategies. We know that the world population has reached 8 billion people on the November 15, 2022, according to the UN, and it is expected to increase by about 10 billions in 2050. And this has led to excessive use of the planetary resources and more and more food production, which has caused the production of the greenhouse gases. This has resulted to the global warming. Global warming is caused by increased concentration of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, mainly from the human activities such as the burning of the fossil fuels, deforestation, tree clearing, and establishment of the housing societies on the agriculture land. It's also due to the excessive food production through agriculture and the animal farming to fulfill the demands of the animal protein of the people. Pakistan is located in the subtropical zone of the world where the ambient temperature remains higher most of the year. And the ambient temperature of some parts in Pakistan reaches up to 52 degrees centigrade, whilst the ideal temperature for the efficient poultry production is 19 to 20 degrees centigrade. Yet ambient temperature on the higher side is very, very disruptive. Therefore, heat stress during summer is a major problem of the poultry producers in most regions of the Pakistan. Animals are divided into two types, cold-blooded and the warm-blooded. Animals having ability to maintain a uniform internal body temperature are called warm-blooded, and the ability to maintain a uniform internal body temperature is called as homeostasis. So being a warm-blooded, birds tries to keep their body temperature in certain limits, and the general feature of the thermoregulation in birds are similar to that of the other animals, except that birds use the plumage feather covering for thermoregulation. They use fat insulation for the thermoregulation, and they use the salt glands to control the salt concentration of the body. Mechanism of heat production in bird. The birds produce the heat inside their body through the glycolysis, through Krebs cycles, through the pentose phosphate shunt, and the enzymes level in the body, the vitamins level in the body, the hormone status of the birds, and the physical activities of the bird, and oxygen consumed by the bird, ambient temperature, and the circadian rhythm. These are the factors which affect the heat production inside the body. However, there should be the heat balance in the birds, and there should be heat loss from the body that must be equal to the heat produced, and that the heat produced inside the body is transferred to outside of the environment through the cellular exchange and the vascular exchange. The body temperature of the bird is varies because the newly hatched chicken, they have the body temperature of 103.5 degree Fahrenheit, and it daily increases until a stable level at about 3 weeks. And the adult chicken have a body temperature of about 105 degree Fahrenheit to 107 degree Fahrenheit. And for chicken, there is a range of environmental temperature to which the body temperature remain essentially constant. This range depends upon the body weight of the birds, the amount of the feathering, shape and distribution of the feathers in the body, acclimatization, and the dehydration status of the birds. However, the birds get rid of the excessive heat produced inside the body through conduction, through convection, through radiation, and through heat vaporization through evaporative cooling. Over the high critical ambient temperature, the body temperature of the bird increases, which increases the chemical reaction in the body, and thus more oxygen is consumed by the bird. And the heat produced, if there is imbalance, the environment cannot accept this heat as ambient temperature is high due to the heat stress. And when heat produced by the bird is greater and it got imbalance, that being lost, then a level reach when the physiological activities of the birds affected, and body temperature begin to rise until it reaches a certain range that is called the lethal temperature, that is 116 degree Fahrenheit. And on the other hand, when temperature goes below 16 degrees centigrade, the heat production inside the body increases first by the physical means, through the shivering, through the hurtling, through the plumage, through the plumage insulation, and through the fat insulation. Then the second step is the activation of the thyroid gland to produce the stress hormones, and the continuous condition may lead to the lowering of the body temperature until it leads to the lethal body temperature. So, if there is imbalance in the heat production and heat loss in the birds, and if the birds are heat stressed, and if they have difficulty in achieving a balance between and body heat loss, then they come into the heat stress. There are some common signs of the heat stress: open mouth breathing, guitar flutter sounds, and the birds stop laying, stop production, and the feed resources are being utilized for the homeostasis regulation rather than for the production. So they stop the production, and birds uplift wings. These are the common signs of the heat stress. Heat stress adversely affect the birds. It affects the production performance of the birds. And respiration rate of the birds increases up to 10 folds. It causes the higher losses of the carbon dioxide through the respiration, and it results into the increase in blood pH, and that lead to the disruption of the acid-base balance, and you can see in this picture that this hyperventilation, excessive loss of carbon dioxide causes the imbalance and inactivation of the carbonic anhydrase enzymes, and it results into the alkalosis, respiratory alkalosis condition, and this causes the reduced secretion of calcium and carbonate by the shell gland. This result into the unavailability of the calcium and carbonate and result into thin shelled eggs. This is also the thin shelled eggs and weak shelled eggs are the signs of the heat stress. Now there are different remedies to combat the heat stress in birds. These include some genetic approaches. Recent advances in the genetics and biotechnology may lead to the way to explore the modification in the genes of the chicken, which will help to alleviate the heat stress. And developing the chicken lines having incorporated gene that may help to alleviate the heat stress in high producers chicken in hot areas is need of the time, and to boost the production for the rising human population throughout the world, it is the need of the time, and there is scope of developing the neck gene in hot stress areas of the world. Neck genes helps to lessen the feathers in the neck area of the chicken, thus facilitate in dissipation of the heat through this naked area of the neck. The genes reduces the feather covering by 20% in heterozygous conditions, and in homozygous, it helps to reduce the 40% of the feather covering. Naked neck chickens tends to produce good egg production during heat stress as compared to non-naked birds. The next approach is the exploitation of the frizzle genes. The frizzle genes create curving outline of the feathers, thus has been reducing the weight of the feathers. This may help to increase the dissipation of the heat waves. Homozygous frizzled hens are reported to produce higher number of quality eggs as compared to the heterozygous frizzled and non-frizzled layers during the summer. Research revealed that good effect of frizzle genes on the reproductive performance of the laying hens, but naked neck genes have more potential to dissipate heat as compared to frizzle. Therefore, this is evident that an additive effect of frizzle genes and the naked neck genes should be utilized and exploited. Next genetic approach is the exploitation of the dwarf gene. Dwarf gene actually is the sex-linked recessive gene responsible for reduction in the body weight up to 40% in the homozygous males and 30% in the homozygous females. However, there is no work on the role of the dwarf gene against the heat stress, and it is the need of the time to be explored the effect of the dwarf gene to combat the heat stress. There are some next management strategies to combat the heat stress. This include the house insulation, maximum to achieve the maximum house insulation, and you can combat the heat stress by good design of the house and ideal location of the house, improving the ventilation, reducing the stocking density, and good litter management is also helpful to combat the heat stress, and avoiding the handling of the bird during the hot hours, and provision of the cool and good water facilities, and reducing the lighting, and also the provision of the environmental controlled condition, obviously, and early heat conditioning may also lead to the combating the heat stress. It's also good. And next is the some feeding strategies. Feeding strategies including the restricted feeding and intermittent feeding also proved helpful to combat the heat stress, and feeding during the cool hours of the day. And new research can indicate that starving or fasting during the hot hours also helps to keep and calm the birds. And another approach is adopting the dual feeding program. For example, provision of the high energy diet from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and provision of a diet rich in protein from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. It is helpful to maintain the body temperature of heat stress poultry birds. And also there are some nutritional manipulations to combat the heat stress. This include the reduction of the protein concentration in the rations, increasing the energy in the ration, supplementation of the amino acid, especially the crystalline amino acid, synthetic amino acid, use of the fats in the ration, reducing the fiber contents of the diet, and supplementation of vitamins, especially the vitamin E, vitamin C in the diets, and supplementation of the sodium carbonate in the rations, and using the DL-methionine with methionine hydroxy analogs and betaines at a level of 0.05 to 0.2%, and diet addition of taurine at 0.1% level in the feed, and formulating the diet using the digestible amino acids, increasing the calcium level up to 4 to 5%, replacing the sodium chloride with the sodium bicarbonate is also a good approach to combat the heat stress. And new research has also indicated that using the phytochemicals and some herbal compounds and using the symbiotic phytobiotic acidified dextrose also proved good to alleviate the heat stress. And some phytochemical, for example, the anthocyanin, L-theanine and lycopene, these also has been tested to relieve the heat stress in poultry birds. And these, because the phytopigment chemicals, they are enriched in the antioxidant. They worked as anti-stressor. They are immunomodulator. They also be helpful to or the anti-diabetic, anti-obesity, anti-inflammatory, and even in anti-cancer. They should be tested. They should be used. Phytochemicals should be used in the diets of the poultry birds during the heat stress. And the combination of tomato and lemon juice, this work has also been done by my student in Riphah College of Veterinary Sciences. Combination of lemon and tomato juice is also proved helpful to combat the heat stress in broilers. Dietary supplementation of resveratrol is also helpful to decrease the body temperature, to reduce the serum cholesterol, reducing corticosterone, and to combat the heat stress. And similarly the gallocatchin gallets is also helpful. It's present in the green tea, its extract, and it's have the good anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, and it's also helpful to combat the stress in poultry birds. Similarly, the curcumin at a level of 150 milligram per kg diet is also proved helpful, and it is reported to enhance the activity antioxidant enzymes and improve the immunity in the poultry birds kept under the heat stress condition. So sodium bicarbonate is also a good compound, and It is a good compound to combat the heat stress. It is a source of carbon dioxide. It is source of an acid, and it is also a buffering agent. And it's also a good strategy to replace the sodium bicarbonate with the some sodium chloride with some sodium bicarbonate. There are also some mitigating. My focus is to reduce the global warming, because more and more animal production has led to the greenhouse generation production of the greenhouse gases in the environment, which has ultimately increasing the global temperature. We should focus. We should buy. Yes, it's good that to improve the production of the animal, but we should also focus on the environmental healthy animal production. So, mitigating the global warming through sustainable production, it's a wise approach to combat the heat stress. Although present day commercial chicken is highly efficient in converting the feed to food products, they still excrete significant amount of the utilized nutrients in the feces. In their manure, broiler they excrete almost 30% of the ingested dry matter. 30% ingested dry matter they excrete in the feces. And similarly, the broiler excrete 25% of the gross energy in the feces. 50% they excrete 50% nitrogen in the feces and 55% phosphorus in the feces. These are the point where should do work, and there is no dire need to increase the production efficiency of the chicken by the wise precise feed formulation, so that nothing should go excrete. Much of the poultry industry's carbon dioxide is primarily from the use of the fossil fuels. For example, carbon dioxide in poultry houses is produced through the when the bird respire. It comes from the brooders when to keep the house warm. It comes from for the electricity to operate equipment in the poultry houses. When if you use the fuels at the cost of the fuels, and it comes from the incinerator. It comes from the diesel fuels used in the trucks, in the tractors, and in the standby generator is the poultry farm. And the carbon dioxide is also produced from the consumption of the feed of and in the animals, which ultimately result in the division of the carbon into the animal biomass and the carbon dioxide. During farm operation, the other gases produced during the poultry production processes are carbon monoxide. It is released during combustion of the fuels, and ammonia, which is released from the manure, from the dropping of the birds, and the nitrous oxide. These are the actually greenhouse gases, which are the threat. And so sustainable agriculture and animal production is the need of the time. So we should focus on improving the feed efficiency of the birds by sustainable animal production, by genetics, and by precise feed formulation. And we should focus on the sustainable resource utilization. This is the point where we should work maximum, and avoiding the overuse of the wastage of the resources. And the next is to proper manure management. It will helpful to reduce the emission of the greenhouse gases, and has the added benefit of protecting the air and water quality, to avoid the air pollution and water pollution. And next is that we should focus on the carbon sequestration by capturing the carbon, securing it, and storing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And so, as the conclusion, I would like to share that to meet the future needs of an increasing human population, no doubt animal production needs to be increased, and However, it should not be at the cost of the greenhouse emissions, and that the greenhouse gas emission should be reduced, and intensity of animals per unit of production is need to be increased through genetic and nutritional manipulation we should focus that the greenhouse gas emission should be stopped at any cost, and that therefore there is dire need to precise formulation to further reduce these losses. For example, as I have discussed that of the nitrogen is excreted in the feces of the birds. Therefore, this is a point where I should do work, and that therefore there is the dire need to precise formulation to further reduce these losses for better environmental health and to avoid the global warming, ultimately lowering the cost of the production. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We have short in time, so I would like to invite Mr. Dr. Abdul Basit, please, sir. Join. You have already joined. Please unmute yourself and say something about your topic, because unfortunately we are unable due to the technical issue there in the mobile app of Dr. Abdul Basit. So he will deliver the lecture without sharing his slide because he has an technical issue in his mobile. Please, Abdul Basit. Dr. Abdul Basit, please, are you listening me? Hello.
सही बोल रहे हैं
Dr. Abdul Basit. Okay, I am unmuting yourself. I did. Please unmute yourself. Yes, please speak.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to make this presentation. I'll be speaking zoonotic disease from poultry animals and our roles in prevention and control with transmission. So this is I'll be taking you through the outline. What is zoonosis? Can you see my screen?
Dr. Abdul Basit, please give me a second. Guys, we have two other speakers. Yes, I am listening you, Dr. Abdul Basit. Please give me a second.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. We have two other speakers. They are working. One is working. She's working in a zoo in USA. She will join us. Please stay tuned with us. Yes. Now continue, Dr. Abdul Basit, please. Yes, Dr. Abdul Basit, please.
Yes, I can hear. Yes, what do you say?
Please.
What did you say?
Your lecture. Continue.
Okay, are you able to see my screen?
But we are watching.
Are you able to see my screen?
There is yes, there is black. The screen is black. Yes, we are watching the thing on the screen.
The screen is black.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see,
Yeah.
can you see it now?
You can speak on the topic. Yes, you can speak on the topic. No problem. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be presenting on zoonotic diseases from poultry animals and our roles in the prevention and control with transmission. Maybe I will send the slide to you. You can send it to others later, just in case you need it. Huh? I will send you the slide later after the presentation so that you can pass it along across to others. So, what is we're talking about zoonosis and zoonotic poultry diseases and those who are at risk and how they are at risk. The case report on zoonotic poultry diseases and our roles in the prevention and control its transmission. So, what is zoonosis? Zoonosis are infectious diseases caused by pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites that can be transmitted between animals and humans, according to the WHO, the World Health Organization, the year 2020. So, what are zoonotic poultry diseases? Zoonotic poultry diseases are diseases that are derived from poultry origin, like chickens, goose, quail, turkey, and ducks, etc., and so on and so forth. So some of the diseases we come across from the poultry animals are avian influenza, salmonellosis, campylobacteriosis, cryptosporidiosis, chlamydiosis, and Escherichia coli infections. So the goal or the aim of this discussion is to familiarize us with these zoonotic diseases that can be gotten from poultry animals, and how can we navigate or control the spread and transmission, and also control the spread and transmission of such diseases. And those diseases are the diseases I have listed previously. I will list them again. Zoonotic poultry diseases are some of them are the avian influenza, the salmonellosis, campylobacteriosis, the cryptosporidiosis, chlamydiosis, and the Escherichia coli infection. And some of the common ones are the salmonellosis and the campylobacteriosis. So, avian influenza has a particularly highly pathogenic strain like the H5N1 and the H7N9, which have been known to transmit from poultry to humans. While human infections are relatively rare, they can lead to severe respiratory illnesses, and there have been instances of human-to-human transmission in very limited cases. Salmonellosis, on the other hand, is a bacteria infection, zoonotic disease that is transmitted via salmonella, and it can be present in poultry products such as meat and eggs. The consumption of poultry products can lead to poultry products contaminated with such bacteria can lead to the infection. So, consuming contaminated poultry products can lead to salmonellosis in humans, causing symptoms like diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. Escherichia coli infections. We have certain strains of E. coli that are very, very toxic to humans, such as the E. coli 0015787, which produces a powerful toxin called sugar toxin and can be found in poultry, which may lead to human infection if the poultry products are not properly handled and cooked. These infections can cause gastrointestinal illness. So I'll be moving on to talk about those who are at risk and how they are at risk. Those who are at risk of zoonotic poultry diseases and how they are at risk. How do they get infected with these these zoonotic diseases? So individuals who come into close contact with poultry animals, their environment, and their products. Those people who work with poultry, maybe the cleaners, the workers, the doctors, the consumers. Some of them are the poultry farmers and the workers, the veterinarians and the animal health workers. We have the market workers and consumers, the household members of poultry keepers, the household members who those are live with people who work with the poultry. We have children, the immunocompromised individuals, the healthcare workers, and also wildlife professionals and researchers. These are the kind of people who are at risk of getting infected with zoonotic poultry diseases. And by this, they have to make sure to take some measures in order to prevent this disease. Although we'll get to that part where we'll talk about how to prevent and control the transmission of such diseases. So, zoonotic poultry diseases can be transmitted via two major methods, which can be classified as non-foodborne and foodborne methods. Are you with me? Are you with me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, I am listening. Yes.
Dr. Miraj,
Yes, yes, I am listening.
are you following? Okay. Okay. I had to make sure that I was being
Yes, I
heard.
am
I feel
listening.
like I was
Yes.
listening to myself. Okay, so as I was saying, I was talking about the mode of transmission of zoonotic poultry diseases. Zoonotic poultry diseases can be transmitted via two major modes of transmission. We have the non-foodborne, that is the non-foodborne mode of transmission, and the foodborne mode of transmission. The non-foodborne mode of transmission refers to ways in which diseases can be transmitted to humans without involving contaminated food or water. For example, the droplet transmission, it can be via contact or via vector-borne transmission. And also we have the foodborne transmission. The foodborne transmission refers to processes by which infectious agents such as the bacteria, the viruses, or the parasites of the zoonotic infection, that is zoonotic poultry disease, can be transmitted through contaminated food. This transmission can lead to foodborne illnesses or food poisoning. For example, we have the bacterial contamination of poultry meat, or the viral contamination of poultry meat and poultry eggs or poultry products, the improper cooking of eggs, the improper food storage, and contaminated water. Just as as the professor previously spoke about, making sure that boiled eggs are boiled with their yolk and with the yolk and the white. The egg he mentioned the egg should be boiled well so as to avoid eating contaminated food. So by so doing you can avoid getting infected with zoonotic poultry disease via foodborne transmission. So we have the case reports of some of the events of zoonotic poultry disease in some countries. There's um, there's a report of statistics drawn from the World Health Organization that revealed that 420,000 people die yearly from 600 million cases of foodborne disease, and also the statistics from the government of Canada showed that there are 11,600 hospitalizations and 238 deaths yearly as a result of foodborne illnesses. Um, so I'll move on to start to talk about the in which we can prevent and also control zoonotic poultry transmission, zoonotic poultry disease transmission. I would like us to understand that prevention and control are two different terminologies which we use interchangeably, people normally use interchangeably, which is wrong. Prevention are the proactive measures taken with the aim to avoid the occurrence of a disease or reduce its impact before the disease actually occurs. This is done in order to ensure that disease does not occur. While control involves efforts to manage and reduce the impact on existing disease, especially when it has already spread within a population. So some of the preventive measures include biosecurity measures, which has been discussed by Dr. Akinleye Aisha. We have the hygiene practices, the poultry management, which has also been discussed in one of the previous discussion from the doctors. We have safe slaughtering and processing. These are preventive measures that we can take in order to avoid um, transmitting zoonotic poultry diseases. We also have education and training, that's educating the masses, the poultry owners, the poultry managers, the keepers, the cleaners and the likes, and also people that the consumers, and also those who own backyard poultry, those that own poultry at the backyard. Vaccination and veterinary care, making sure they are well vaccinated and up to date vaccination, and also making sure that poultry birds are poultry animals are well taken care of by the suitable professional, which is a veterinarian, and also environmental management. And some of the controls we can also adapt in in order to ensure to control the transmission of zoonotic poultry disease are disease surveillance, isolation and quarantine, hygiene and sanitation, making sure that we ensure proper sanitation and hygiene practices. We also isolate, quarantine any suspicious bird in order to avoid an outbreak or a spread of disease among our flocks. Also, personal hygiene. Personally, we should ensure personal hygiene, regulatory compliances, making sure that all the steps or the things that are meant to be in place before we enter the, the farm are in place, and also collaborations and reporting. Any outbreak should be reported in order to avoid the transmission of these diseases. But for some poultry or some farms, when there is an outbreak, they sell off their chickens to the eateries, and in so doing, they are potentially they are potentially transmitting the disease via selling of chickens to the eateries. So this is all I have for you, and my reference is here. Although it's unfortunate you can't see. Thank you all for listening. I'll entertain any questions based on what I just discussed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Dr. Abdul Basit. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, while as well as we have some issue from USA. Now, please give me a second. Let me shift my internet from one device to another device. Give me a second. Okay, are you listening me? Hello. Yes, I can speak now. Guys, we have Dr. Madiha Ashraf. She's very talented and she has a good experience in the wildlife. Now she has joined us. She will talk about her experience in wildlife. Now I have to add something here. Now she is working in Saudi Arabia in wildlife in a zoo. Thank you.
Miraj,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes, I think the webinar is going too long. Dr. Akramani is waiting for the thanks note.
Yes. I
Please
talked, sir,
try to keep it short.
yes, sir, I have to. I have to. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Dr. Madiha Ashraf, please unmute yourself. Okay, now please, ma'am, talk about your experience.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm working presently at Riyadh International Zoo, which is having a lot of species related to ruminants, equine, and exotic bird species also here. Presently, I'm working on the project which is related to the flamingo breeding. Maybe you know about the flamingo birds. Flamingo birds, it's basically aquatic bird, and we are having the project here which is greater flamingo and the lesser flamingos. You know, the wildlife management is very difficult from the domestic one, although it's also a big task which is you are rearing like poultry management, which is related to the breeding of the birds and layer farmers, and for the broiler also. but it's a different thing, like flamingo breeding program, which we are dealing here. Like for the flamingos, which things are required specifically, we need to provide an environment which is related to the specific for the growth of the bird, for the growth of everything. So for the flamingos breeding program, what we have arranged here, first of all, we did DNA sexing for the birds, so that we should have an idea about the male and females ratio, and which thing we need to provide them is the mud mounds, which we provide them. I don't have a prepared presentation, so I cannot show you at this time, but I will share with you a video through which we have raised flamingos, which is very important species. So we prepared the mud mounds. Flamingos laid their eggs on the mud mounds, and we reared the chicks of the flamingos, which is a very important species. And the remaining thing which I want to talk about, the exotic birds which are in the zoos, the same thing like vaccination, deworming, and the biosecurity measures, which you are controlling in your private breeder farms. Here in the zoo, it's very difficult because people from all of the areas are visiting the zoos, and we are facing many of the outbreaks which I had already faced in the Lahore Zoo and the Safari Zoo about the Newcastle disease, even influenza once we reported. So the same protocol we should follow for the vaccination and deworming of the birds, and especially for the ectoparasites also. So any question related to the wild birds? Many of the people in the Lahore are rearing lovebirds and other exotic species in their homes, and they are getting too much money by doing this profession, which are not veterinarian, but they are earning a lot by rearing different exotic species at their homes, by providing them a good environment, good shelter. So they are getting more birds there. Any question?
Please, guys, you can ask the question. I allowed you all to put your questions in your chat. Ma'am, you are saying right that there are many students and many other individuals, those are raising flamingo birds at their homes, at the species they rented in Lahore, and they are selling them. They are doing breeding.
No, they are not rearing flamingos, lovebirds.
Oh, lovebirds, yes, ma'am.
Yes, finches, such kind of the species they are rearing. It's difficult to rear African grey parrot also, and the macaws also.
Yes, ma'am.
Enrichment, one of the person is asking about the enrichment. Every species which you are keeping in the captivity and related to the wild, you should provide different kind of the toys and different kind of the swings to them, so that they have some kind of the activity which they should involve themselves, like they are swinging, they are even related to the food. If you are keeping any kind of the food to them, you should make such kind of the hide places, such kind of the things, so that they keep themselves busy. And if you are keeping that bird as in your pet, you should be involved socially to that animal, because animals and birds are also social. They require social thing. Any other question?
Actually, ma'am, there are the most individuals interested in the livestock and other, I can say, the
Okay, one question is there. They want to ask any kind of the fertility. Vitamin E and selenium is very good for the for increasing the fertility of the birds. So often on in your feed once in a week you can add such kind of the things which can increase the fertility of the birds. Even related to some enrichment which is from the food, from the vegetables, and must add vitamin E, selenium for your birds. Um, yes, there are different things. Even on the YouTube, you have seen recently a few of the practical things which people are following in the Lahore. They are giving you a method which you can raise at your home. What kind of the specific requirement for the cages? What kind of the specific requirements for the environment, like the winter season, which thing you require to keep in your room for the birds to raise higher. And a few of the books I will recommend. There is a book for Fowler Zoo and Wild Animal Medicine, which is very good. You can follow it. And few of the manuals, IAZA manuals, BIAZA manuals, in which there is a clear-cut mention about different animals, their designs, their employers, and for the diseases, and even for the enrichment which you are asking. Yes, is selenium orally mostly we cannot catch the bird at every moment. We should give in the feed or in the drinking water on daily basis. So you can continue such kind of the supplements on daily basis. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for being here. Unfortunately, it was a short of time, but thank you very much. You gave us these important minutes. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. So this is all for today, and I have to request to Dr. Ahmaddin Najim Saab, please say some words and let us close this seminar with some advice, and you can talk about some conclusion about the seminar of today. Please, sir, unmute yourself. Sir, unmute yourself, please. Let me check. I am checking, sir. Please give me a second. Yes, sir. I am unmuting you. Yes, sir, please unmute yourself now. Yes, please speak, sir.
Assalamu alaikum once again.
Walaikum salam, sir.
This activity, in fact, it is a part of the continuing education, and it is very important for improving our skills, knowing the current status of livestock sector, production and health. And this, I hope, this will continue with other sessions on different aspects of poultry, wildlife, livestock, food animals in particular. And I wish that every one of us is taking some message with us from this activity. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much indeed for making it success. and particularly for the speakers, international speakers. We are grateful to them for joining us and educating us. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. Always welcome. Thank you very much, sir. So everyone can leave the meeting. We will arrange many things after today, inshallah. We have a great supervisors, alhamdulillah, and stay tuned, inshallah. Okay. Good night for Pakistani, all individuals. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Pakistan Zindabad.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर जी, सर आपका स्पेशल थैंक यू वेरी मच, अप टू यू।